Imagine for a moment that you've just graduated from high school, on your own for the first time. All that life has to offer is before you. And then you receive the news that will forever change your life. Cancer. The word itself seems to stop everything around you. Your plans, your future, your life are suddenly put on hold. Each year, thousands of young people are diagnosed with this life-changing disease. And although they could be called victims, these young men and women seem to summon indescribable courage and strength to fight for their lives. Samantha Eisenstein was about to begin her final semester of college and was excited to spend some time with her family and friends over winter break when she got the news.
The experience of anyone being told that they have cancer it's unbelievable. It's surreal.
The doctor in Boston said they thought the leading diagnosis was leukemia or lymphoma. And that's what happened.
The first response is you hear the words, but that's as far as it goes. You just hear some words because it can't possibly be happening in your own life. And yet, it is.
I looked at my mom, and I remember at that moment, it was kind of like, oh my God. I had the image of someone who had lost their hair, who was hooked up to IV poles, who was in the hospital, who was sick. More than anything physical, I think, it was just realizing that I was sick.
So we called him at the office, he was there. We went right to the office. He looked at me and said, "You're going to the emergency room right now." He sent me over there, and I couldn't tell you what happened the next 6 weeks. I was in a coma, I was in ICU, I don't remember any of it.
I was with my friends, and we had a New Year's party, and I remember watching the ball drop, and the second it hit the bottom and 2000, lit up and everybody was blowing on their things, I got hysterical, because I just remember thinking, like, this is the start of a new millennium and I have cancer.
Is the response of any parent when anything happens to their child. They just want to be able to not make it so.
I wanted it to be me, and I guess any parent, or most of the parents that I know, why not me? Let me have it. Why Sam? She's so young, she's so vital.
I can sort of talk around it any way I want. I can call it anything I want, and I can explain it however I want, and at the end of the day, I had cancer.
You're in the pediatric ward until you're thinking 19 or 18. And so I would go there, and instead of just sitting in my room waiting with my parents and looking at like little SpongeBob stickers, I would go and I'd either pick a movie out or I'd hang out with these little kids, and they were so inspiring because they looked so happy even though they were bald and they were obviously really, really sick. And to be really sick at that age, it's gonna be a while until they're better, and that was the hardest, to see them.
Remember when I would be able to go home and I remember at one point calling the doctor and saying, "Is there anything else I can do? Is there any other medication that won't make me feel as sick? Is there any other protocol or anything else? And what would happen if I stopped taking it?" So there's nothing else, and if you stop taking what you're taking now, you die. And I really didn't care anymore. I really didn't. But the only thing that really kept me going was that my mother never left my side. And if I ever quit, it would hurt her more than anybody else.
Doctors said that, my trachea was deviated when I found those tumors, that, given I would have been dead by my junior year. So this year I would have been gone. And I feel like I'm sort of living on borrowed time then.
These kids, for reasons beyond their control, have something they have to deal with, they're forced to deal with in their lives. And they get angry about it. And then the issue comes up in their minds, it sinks in, you know, am I going to live?
You know, people whispered around me, or they were, you know, overly nice. And there were times I just wanted to be like, I just wanted to be hit with the truth. I think they were afraid that because I was going through treatment that I was, you know, mentally unstable, and, you know, an insult or like a harsh comment I wouldn't be able to withstand it.
At the time, I actually had hair past my shoulders. I was big into the punk scene and the whole thing. And before it fell out, we decided to shave all my hair off, so I didn't have to watch my hair fall out one by one. Just get rid of it at once.
Hair, image, how you present yourself, what you look like, your whole presentation to the world. Hair is a part of that. It's a big part of that, you know, and it certainly signifies in public that you're ill, that you're a patient, there's something wrong with you. You are forced to stand out.
I had my hair up in like a pretty small ponytail, but it was up. And by the end of the day, I went home and I looked in the mirror. All of like here and in the back of my head and along the sides was just gone. It was all gone. I mean, it must have been horrible for people to watch, you know, my hair slowly fall out during school, but I'd take my hair out and I'd try to put it back up, and just like chunks and clumps of it would just fall out.
And so the kids knew, her singing partners knew they were going to cut her hair.
And at that time, I had really long hair. I'd always had long hair my whole life. And I wanted them to cut it. I didn't want to go through losing it. I sort of felt like that was the one thing that I could control. That, you know, if someone said to me, oh, you lost your hair, at least I could say, no, I shaved it off. Granted, I would have lost it anyway, but I just wanted to feel like I had some control, and I wanted my friends to be a part of it.
They were waiting, and then finally Sam said, let's go, and I think they took her in the bathroom, and they each cut a part of her hair.
I stood in the bathtub, and everybody took a pair of scissors and just cut my hair super, super short, you know, as short as they could. And I remember looking in the mirror, and I didn't even recognize myself.
Her singing group came down to the hospital. I was in the bathroom with her, and she wasn't feeling well. But while we're in the bathroom, she says, oh my God, my spur is here. Spur of the moment is her group. And you could hear them singing quietly, coming up the hallway. And in a second, she was smiling. She felt better. She, you know, would get her back to her bed. They said, come on, Sam, sing, sing. No, I'm not going to sing. And she had IVs and, you know, junk dripping into her. And I was standing in the back of the room. Everybody was surrounding her, but I had a clear picture of her with her little buzzed head. And she started singing her song. Smiling. I mean, with chemotherapy dripping into her arm. And, you know, sitting on the edge of the bed, surrounded by all the people that love her, that she loves, singing surrounded with her little buzzed head. It was one of the most beautiful pictures and one of the most beautiful moments that I remember.
There are all these hopes and dreams of what you imagine will be your teenage years, whether it's these events or just being in the classroom and hanging around school or getting together with friends. Those kinds of things don't take place for the most part for these kids. So it's pretty profound.
I missed everything. And to this day, if I had the chance to go back, I'd do it. I miss not having high school.
Truly, you can't function. You can't go to school. You certainly can't get a job. You have to worry about infection. So your life has to become a little cocoon.
They told my parents far more than they told me. A lot of stuff is left out, such as how bad it is, or a lot of the side effects, long-term side effects, especially for me.
And I felt like nobody in the world understood, because the young adults that I went through treatment with had all passed away.
Seeing a lot of friends that didn't beat cancer, I took that and rolled with it. And that's my drive. That's my strength.
You just want to get through it any which way you can. It's afterwards that you're really trying to figure out what it means. And in that is the process of healing.
The thing is that survivorship is hard. It's sort of painted as this, thing that's, cancer is over and done with. The second they finish treatment and say you're in remission, you're done with cancer and you're a survivor and that's it. And so it minimizes everything that comes afterwards.
My support, just kind of dropped off, and that everyone sort of stopped being supportive as soon as they found out I was done with treatment.
It's hard to adjust back to sort of real life, and when you don't look like everybody else and you definitely don't feel like everybody else, and to sort of have to fit back in but be 2 years behind everybody else. It's hard and nobody prepares you for that.
There's a giant aftermath to survivorship. You finish treatment and everybody says, wow, this is great, but nobody ever prepares you, nobody says anything, nobody tells you, and nobody gives you resources to turn to.
And any way that someone can be relieved of that, freed of that, can help them move forward.
Because they don't have bank accounts, they don't have IRAs, they don't have, places to turn. Nobody's going to give them a loan. Their lives are very different and very complicated, and so if we could help uncomplicate it just a little bit, that would be great.
If we can sort of help people out in that transitional time where things can either go in a really good direction or things can go in a sort of mediocre direction and they'll always be a few steps behind everybody else, we want to make it possible for them to go and make the contributions that they're capable of making.
It's there to give people that hope, to give people that chance to start new, to start fresh, and not have to worry about what will happen a year from now if I'm in that much in debt.
We're designed to take the pressure off them a little bit so that they can go pursue any dreams that they have.
That kind of support can make a difference in terms of moving forward.
10 years from now, the people that will receive from the Samfund now will be the same people that will be giving to the Samfund. There's no other feeling better in the world than caring for somebody else. And if you've been cared for, all you want to do is help somebody else.